Good morning and welcome to our webinar, Better Marketing Content with Audience Research. Today is October 5th, 2023, and we're so excited to have you here today. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. My name is Nick Fry. I'm the Manager of Business Development with Tourism Nova Scotia. We work with communities and industry to attract visitors to the province and increase tourism revenues through experience and sector development, business coaching, marketing, and visitor servicing. This webinar today will be recorded, so if you go past, if we go past 11, or if you have to run away, or if you have to want to share this with somebody in the industry, that's great. It's going to be available within 24 hours. You can view it again, share it with colleagues, or come back and see any points that you would like to revisit. Really encourage you to put questions in the Q&A at the bottom. It really helps to move the discussion along. And any links or anything that Alison shares today, we'll be emailing that out after the fact, so you can focus on the webinar and check the links out later. If this is your first time, or if you want to check out our other webinars, they're available online. The link's right there. And again, so excited for you to be here today. This webinar is offered in partnership with our good friends at Digital Nova Scotia. Hopefully you joined us here through Digiport, and if not, I would encourage you to sign up for Digiport. It's a one-stop shop of interactive services and educational opportunities that talks about our programming. You get access to digital marketing skills. You are able to access professional support to really help bridge that digital gap and help with your online presence. It's the only one available for tourism industry in Canada similar to this. It's free of charge, so please go sign up for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to touch base after the fact. Now, again, I'm excited to have Alison Knott with Alison K Consulting. We've had Alison here before. She's a wonderful presenter. One of her trademarks is that she's very easygoing and funny. So, not only are you getting really professional care, you're also going to have some fun while you do it. Alison has spent the last 12 years building and Alison they support small, nimble teams, marketing, consulting, and training. They'll help you show your business how to make your marketing ethical, doable, and lovable so you stick with it and achieve your growth. Previously held teaching positions at NSCC IT Campus and NASCAD University. On top of her career in digital marketing and web consulting. Is very busy. I'm glad that she could fit us into her schedule today. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Alison to take over the screen and impart her wisdom. So welcome, Alison.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for checking out what's going on here. I don't think I can see myself here. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another fabulous Thursday of figuring out what we want to do with our businesses, especially when it comes to our marketing. So let me just quickly switch over to my slides here. I'm so glad to have you all here today. Let's talk shop. Okie dokie. There we go. So better marketing content with audience research. So yes, I've got slides and I've got goodies for you today. You can check it out at that link below. Again, the link will be on every page, and also the fine folk at Tourism Nova Scotia and Digital Nova Scotia will ensure that you get these links afterwards. So darlings, let's just dive right into the goodness, huh? So, here we go. You could do it, PowerPoint. There we go. So we're going to talk about market research, audience research, and essentially, why is it that you're posting stuff on social media, you're not getting engagement? Why is it that you're pouring your heart and soul into a newsletter and no one's really responding? Why is it that when you run an event, or you want to bring the community together, or you want to tap into a new market, and it's hard, right? It's freaking hard to figure out what it is that people want that will understand what it is you offer as a wonderful tourism business. Well, in my experience in working with service-based businesses putting good into the world, a lot of them tourism companies, it's about understanding your audience research, what your audience wants, their needs, what they're excited about, and less about our goals, although our goals do tie into there. So I want to talk a little bit about what the heck is this audience research that we're going to talk about today. And by the way, darlings, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A box, and I'm sure and happy to answer them at the end. I love questions. So Market research versus audience research. There's a difference. It's possible that you might have had some experience working inside of market research. So let's just think about this in an allegory of a wonderful farmer's market, right? And you sell these beautiful, delicious peaches. Market research would be when you go to the farmer's market, you're in a space with other fruit and vegetable producers, right? So market research is all about when you're in that marketplace, what are all of your competitors, or what I like to call contemporaries, doing in that space? What kind of items do they have? How are they talking about those items? How's their table set up? All those good things. But then audience research is actually more pertinent to what that end person is going to want. So you might have the sweetest, juiciest peaches on the planet, but it doesn't matter if your ideal audience was actually looking for a refreshing lemon. So part of audience research is when we understand what it is the people we want to tap into are looking for, and how what we offer them fits into their life, into their needs, into their wishes, then the content machine gets a lot easier. And the way we do that is by understanding what they want, getting out of our own butts as business owners. I'm one too, I get it, right? We're really excited about what we offer and the services we give and the experiences that we give. But taking time to research what your audience wants is going to save you a boatload of time and effort. And if you have hair on your head, save your hair from falling out of your head. So, in terms of what this is going to look like, what are the benefits, right? And what I really love and enjoy about audience research is it focuses on your client, your guest, or your customer and their journey towards your brand. And what do I mean by that journey? So the journey is, in a perfect world, we would love this if you put up an Instagram post and someone goes, "What a great post," and they book into your bed and breakfast, right? Or you write a newsletter and say that you have a excursion with kayaks coming up, and people just reply to the newsletter, and boom, you've got your 10 spots sold. But that's not really how people operate. And marketing is dating and sales is marriage. So marketing is about meeting people and having touch points with them throughout their journey, which doesn't start and end with "I saw it and I want it." People are inundated with information, they're inundated with choice. So we need to earn their trust, build their confidence, and feel like they understand that we understand what they want. And so when they see the work you're doing, they're like, "Oh my goodness, this brand gets me. I want in on what they're offering." So that's like the awareness stage, right? So in a journey with people, they have awareness stage where they're not necessarily thinking about you or maybe even what it is you offer, but they have an inkling of what they want, right? Maybe they want to go on a really exciting adventure. Maybe they want to expand their culinary horizons. Maybe they want to stay in a place that has roots to them from, maybe they're originally from Cape Breton or something. At the awareness stage is kind of this idea of people aren't sure that they're going to pick you. They don't know they're going on a trip yet. They don't know that they want to go on an excursion. They don't know that they want to, learn how to forage for mushrooms, but they have an inkling, and we want to help with that. Then we have the consideration stage where they do know, "Hey, I think I do want to go look for truffles, or I do want to go kayaking." And so the considerations phase in your marketing is sort of like warming them up to what you offer, and help to start them to see themselves in what it is that you offer. And then the conversion, that's the point where sometimes it's not they buy or they book, right? Conversion could be they sign up for your newsletter. They're still not quite ready yet, but they'd like to learn more. Or they'd like to take a webinar that you offer. Or they want to book a consult with you before they decide to go to your wonderful spa, right? Because maybe they have skin conditions or something. So that conversion piece happens. And then, of course, that advocacy piece, which is essentially once they are your customer, client, or guest, how are you going to ensure, number one, that they stay satisfied and deepen their experience with you? And two, they're going to advocate and recommend you to others, which helps feed your business machine. So when you use audience research at all of these touch points, basically you're going to have some audience gold, right? Our goal here is to take off the phony nose and take off that sheet and figure out who are these people dancing underneath this journey that they have. So that's one benefit. The second one is in doing audience research, you're going to find out who your true competitors and contemporaries are. When we're in our own business, we often think, well, I could think like, I'm a marketing consultant, so my competition is other marketing consultants. It's not. My competition is actually do-it-yourself webinars, cohorts, And then maybe it's someone who's not in marketing. It could be an IT person, or maybe someone that only specializes in social media. Likewise, you might think that your competitors are other establishments just like yourself, but it's possible that your ideal audience has experience with something that you never would have considered. So once you understand how what you offer fits into their life, this can be really helpful. And it can help you understand what your ideal audience has already experienced and how you can market, in other words, have conversations that help them see where you lie in with that value. And because you're doing audience research, you're figuring out exactly the words they use to describe what it is that you offer and how they feel and what they want to achieve. And when you have those words, you can replace whatever jargon you have or any theories you have with their actual words, and that will give you copywriting gold. So when they're reading your Instagram captions or your newsletter or what have you, or your website, then they'll go, "Oh my gosh, these people get me. I feel like they're right in my head." So that'd be another great reason to do audience research. And my favorite thing about it is it's super inexpensive. This isn't a giant research project that takes months and months and months and tens of thousands of dollars. And it doesn't matter what your team size or resources are. Anyone can do this. If you are curious about really delighting your guests, clients, and customers, then you can do audience research. Because the whole idea that I want to tell you today, darlings, is audience research in terms of getting off that hamster wheel of putting stuff on Canva for the hell of it, of trying to figure out how many more reels you have to do on Instagram and what you're going to write next in your newsletter. Measure twice and cut once. Audience research is where before you create stuff, you're going to go and see what is already working from other brands that have done the work so that you can apply your own unique view to that and basically benefit from it, right? Measure twice, cut once. It also applies to marketing, not just cute little doggies trying to help their friend cut wood. And the other thing I like about it is I find it will add dimensionality to this. This is a persona, and perhaps you've had an experience with it. Maybe you worked with a web designer and they helped you with it, or a brand designer and they helped you with it. There's nothing wrong with a persona, but often they're a little cliched and they're imaginary with the best of intention, but they're imaginary, and it's what you project often to what you hope your ideal audience will be, who your ideal buyer or client or guest will be, right? So audience research turns this from a hypothetical character into a real dimensional person who's responding in real time, which also means that it's going to be more relevant to you. As we've all known, after, post-pandemic world, a lot has changed, and often personas don't because they're just one dimension. This is another reason to perform audience research. So a tip I would have about this is you're not going out to do audience research to make money. That's a very wide goal, and it's not really going to be conducive to how this works. You want to think more about, because there's a lot you could look at, and you could spend hours and hours and hours and hours looking at stuff, but not really having, a directory in how you want to work with that. So it's important to have a goal. What will you be looking for? And that will kind of help orientate around what can I push aside that I don't need to look at, and what should I be really paying attention to? So maybe these are just some examples off of my head. Maybe you're thinking about getting into video content. Before you get hung up on am I going to buy a videographer and what am I going to talk about, do audience research. If you want to attract a new segment, perhaps you want to target elders or maybe the queer community. You want to go and do the research first before you just start to aimlessly put out content out there. Maybe you want more engaged newsletter readers. This is great. This means all your research, you can focus on other brands that do what you do and your contemporaries and other contemporaries in the space, specifically in their newsletter capabilities. What are they putting on their landing pages? Do they have opt-ins? How do they talk about it? Do they promote it? All that good stuff. And some good habits to have when researching kind of also apply to having good habits when you are doing your own marketing or working with someone to help you with that. And the first is you gotta make time in your calendar, darlings. A good trick I've done for myself and for other clients that I coach is if you have one of those like color coordinated calendars, whatever color you make for meetings that make you money, so that's bookings, consults, or what have you, Make time for marketing the same color. Begin to train your mind as a business owner or team member that your time spent working on marketing is valuable. Setting up an hour every week will get you a lot farther than being reactive to when nothing's coming in and trying to do it all in 2 weeks. You can accomplish a lot. So when it comes to audience research, it's good to make time to do that as well in your calendar. Give it space, give it some space, and give some space. Can't say it enough. Another one is keep a dumping ground for all your brilliant little ideas. Nothing worse than when it's time to write a newsletter and you sit down in front of a blank screen with a little blinking cursor, right? But sometimes you are with guests or with clients or out in your space or enjoying a wonderful product that you use, and an idea hits you. And instead of being like, oh, what a great idea, have a space to put that idea for now. I recommend either I have a Google Doc that sits on my computer. I also have Keep on my phone. Some people use Evernote. There's Notion, a pad and paper, whatever it is. But keep a space so that when you have an idea, when you hear your clients, guests, and customers say something that you think could be really helpful for you, write it down. If you are out and about and you notice a really cool campaign or a really neat thing, write it down. Your intention isn't to say, I'm going to write it down and it's going to be 5 blog posts. I'm going to write this. You don't have to go that deep, but begin to allow yourself to create a little treasure chest of ideas and things that you notice out there so that you're drawing from something and not nothing every time. And you really want to pay close attention to engagement. And engagement depends on what the marketing channel is. So in social media, that's often reactions and comments or people forwarding pieces. In newsletters, that's open rate, click-through rate, or people replying to what you're doing. In webinars, it can be how engaged are people in your chat as they're going, all that good stuff. So sometimes, and when I have performed audience research on behalf of clients, I've also done it with them and taught them how to do it. And sometimes we'll see something that looks super rad and we're like, wow, this brand's really figured it out. And we realize oh, but no one's responding to it. Shoot. So maybe it looks good to us, but it's not responding to the audience. What's going on? Or the flip side could be maybe the audience loves it, but it's not something that people respond to. So paying attention to engagement is key. For example, and I think this will make a lot of people feel better. Are you aware of who B Corp is in the B Lab, right? So this is the social enterprise around, that helps social enterprises around the world. It's a pretty big friggin' deal. And this is a screen cap a little while ago from their Twitter/X feed. And they got 77.5 thousand followers, right? They must be doing something right in social media to have that many people. Well, in doing research for a client around sustainability, I was looking them up and trying to figure out, okay, sustainable people, they're really into B Corp and social progressive ideas. So let's find out, let's go to the source. What are they doing to attract these 77.5 thousand followers? They made a poll in January and 4 people replied to it. And of the 4 people, 2 of them, half of them said, the thing you're talking about, nah, I didn't see it. Right? So I just want to put it out there, darlings, that engagement isn't necessarily the end all and be all. And the amount of followers that you have, or the amount of people on your list, not the end all and be all. Audience research is diving deep and kind of reverse engineering why people like something and why they don't. So anytime you feel like you're banging your head against the wall about your marketing, I love B Corp. We know that they do great work and they know what they're doing, but also they had 77,000 people and only 4 people replied to their vote. So, it's okay, right? We're all working on that and it's okay. Keep on trucking. So I want to say now, in case you're falling asleep in your chair, I get it, it's early morning. I have a really important slide coming up. So if anything else falls out of your head after this talk, are you ready? Get out your phones, get your paper down. This is the most important thing I need you to know about audience research. You got to talk to your existing audience. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, oh, talk to my audience, talk to my clients, my guests and my customers. Oh, I'd rather set myself out into the ocean and go live with the jellyfish than do this. And I get it, right? But here's the thing about audience research is that ChatGPT is not going to save you from being more efficient and being more deliberate and more intentional with your marketing, right? You have to chat with your ideal audience first, damn it. And so again, you are trying to entice humans to understand what you offer as a beautiful human. So the first tip I have is reach into your existing audience, the people who are already following you, the people who are already buying your product or engaging with you or commenting at the farmers market. Go talk to them and figure out how you fit into their world. So this first tip here of asking your existing audience, you can do that through social media posts, polls, and stories, right? There's lots of little stickers you can use to ask people questions, right? Just about what you're doing, what they're all about. If you're wondering about something, ask people. They'll be happy to help you. You can also send lists in your email, surveys. You can have email replies. Maybe you want to ask a question around, is it important to you to come here during the summer? Or what is your favorite Cape Breton memory? Or what brings you to Yarmouth every year? What have you, right? You could ask people. If you're wondering about something, don't assume, go ask. And what I want to mention about this too is I want you to, this is a bit of a muscle to grow and flex, but get creative and think beyond the obvious. So we get really stuck on what we offer as business providers and forgetting that our end people that we want to talk to, our audience, they don't have the same relationship to what we do as they do. So for example, and also by doing all of this is also help you create more content for marketing. So now you're not only just promoting what you're doing or talking about what you have to offer, you're actually engaging with people. People look at social media, for example. If there's nothing for me to reply to, I'm not going to reply. And a lot of people aren't going to type, what a nice post, right? So when you ask people their opinions and their experiences, all of a sudden you're getting more engagement across different platforms in your marketing. So when I talk about being creative and thinking a little bit deeper beyond what's in front of you, here's an example. So let's say that you are a kayaking tour company, right? And you could say, where do you go to plan your next travel adventure? It's not a bad question to ask your audience, but like really for you, it's like, do you need to know where they plan it? And maybe you've realized that one of your favorite kinds of guests to have are solo travelers. That's just maybe they're easier to work with. They tend to do longer excursions, let's have you. So if you just said, where do you go to plan your next travel adventure? Or what do you like about kayaking? Might not be as helpful for you in audience research. But if you asked, who on Instagram has an amazing solo traveler account? This could be gold, especially if your goal is to grow your Instagram, right? So now what you're asking is, you want solo travelers and you want to promote and be more active on Instagram. Ask your ideal audience and your favorite clients and customers and guests, who are they already paying attention to? Then go pay attention to them. And I'll get into deeper about paying attention to them now. But think about it that way. Ask people and then go, when they answer you, go see what the hubbub is all about. Number two is if you already have existing favorite clients, customers, and guests, I want you to interview them. Again, yes, I want you to pick up the phone or go on Zoom or probably not, probably not any other kind of system, but that way that you can have a one-to-one conversation. And the point is, I want you to replicate them. So instead of guessing why they came to you and enjoyed your wonderful offering, you're going to talk to them about it. Now, there's some key things about doing these one-to-one interviews. Thing is, you want to talk to your best fit folk, right? You don't want to talk to people who were only an okay guest or an okay client. You want to go after folk that you really wish you had more of them, and you want to figure out what makes them tick. And the second thing is, this is specific to what led them to you. Remember that journey I had in the beginning here? This is not a review about how much they enjoyed what you gave. I need to underline that a lot. It's not about you. This interview is about what you offer and how it fits into what they do. Because marketing, again, is dating, right? Imagine going on a date and the person just kind of talks about themselves the whole time and asks you to marry them when they're done. Ew. Instead, what you want to do is you want to have a conversation where you're figuring out and reverse engineering what made them decide to even turn their attention, not even towards you, but towards whatever it was, the job to be done, as it's often known, to go and find you and end up working with you or having your service. And these are usually 30 to 45 minutes. It depends on how much of a talker they are and how much information they give. And I recommend conducting them within 2 weeks. And if you're like, well, Allison, that seems like a really big thing to do, I want to recommend a wonderful product. I am not a affiliate for this, but it is made by local rock star Caitlin Burgoyne. It's called Clarity Calls. And what this system is, it's really affordable. I think it's less than 150 US. And what this has is it tells you who you can pick, how to ask them to go on the call. It gives you all the questions you can ask. It also shows you how to write the notes and then how to discern all that information and disseminate it afterwards and apply it to your persona and apply it to your marketing. It's a wonderful, wonderful system, and I highly recommend it if you want to DIY your own one-to-one customer calls that are based off of their experience and not a review about how great or poorly you did as an entity. The third one I want to talk about is performing a listening tour. This one can be great if maybe you don't have any clients or customers or guests that make your heart sing. Or again, maybe your goal, remember I was saying, was to tap into a new customer segment. Maybe you want to go after a new part of the world or a new kind of guest. Then performing a listening tour is another great way to talk to, yes, total strangers, about their experience about what you have to offer, and then use that to reverse engineer and apply it to your marketing. So to perform a listening tour, it's folk who are not your current client customers, but they're either adjacent, they're in the sphere, they're in a world that there's a couple of attributes about them that you think you want to apply, and then kind of pick their brain essentially about if what you're thinking about offering or where you want to go is fit with them. So talking from experience, I perform listening tours when I'm about to release a new product or service. And there have been quite a few of them I never even bother starting, because when I do a listening tour, I'll talk to 10 people that are in a space I want to be in, and they will overwhelmingly say, Allison, this sounds, what you're asking, but this topic is not of interest to me. It's not important to me. And I'm like, sweet, I'm so glad I know that, because then I won't build the thing, or I won't edit the thing, or I won't talk about it. So essentially, it's again, discover their experience with your specific topics. So that could be kayaking, or it could be foraging, or it could be reconnecting with Cape Breton roots. I keep picking on Cape Breton. Sorry, darling, it's just on my mind today. All of Nova Scotia is a beautiful place, right? Your roots at Amherst, right, could be part of that. And these ones are a little shorter. It's usually about 30 minutes with about 7-ish questions that you can ask. And at that link I have in the bottom, I have those 7 questions if you want to dive deeper and some support on how to get going with this. And basically, the way you get strangers in the door with this is you will offer 30 minutes of your time at the end for them to ask anything of you. So if you have any experience in foraging or in kayaking, or you're a consultant or a beautician in a space, then it's like a free gift, right? As a thank you for them spending 30 minutes with you, somewhat of a stranger, you're going to let them pick the brain. And what I find is when you do these questions, most of the time, because you never actually mention what you're all about in terms of what you're trying to achieve, at the end, usually the first thing that people say is, that was amazing. What is going on? Tell me all about yourself. What are you offering? Who are you? What are you all about? So sometimes you actually can sell at the end of this simply because you listen to them. Think of a really wonderful date or a conversation you had where someone was really interested in you and asked all kinds of questions about you. I don't know about you, but that made me fall in love with them. So I'm sweet. So here are some questions that you could ask. So what are your main priorities regarding, I'm going to go with kayaking just as an example, and how does it fit into the work you do or your lifestyle? This is for you to understand they don't run a kayaking business. So what does kayaking mean to them, and how does it fit into their life and their work? And then in terms of kayaking, maybe it's excursions perhaps, or learning how to do it. What have you tried? What worked? What didn't? What was your experience like? This is a great way to turn over objections or expectations or assumptions that they make about what you offer. You can find out if maybe some people in your competitor space are doing really interesting things you didn't even think of. And also just to understand like their competency level and their level of engagement and what's going on, right? Do they find a lot of stuff really talks over them? Do they find they never got their money's worth? All kinds of good stuff that you can apply to your marketing to show people we're not like that. We are exactly what you want. And then what do you still struggle with in regards to X? It's similar to the one above, where again, there might be new opportunities for you to grow. So maybe they're like, well, actually, I really do enjoy the kayaking excursion, but I'm actually I'm a triathlete, and I really wish there was a component, I'm making this all up, I'm obviously not a sports person. I really wish there was a way for me to, after going on that excursion, I could enjoy some one-to-one time in the forests of Nova Scotia, right? You're like, oh, great. I actually have a colleague that does these adventurous tours and I should collaborate with them, right? You don't know what's out there and what people want and what you can create and talk about in your marketing unless you ask. And then when it comes to kayaking, where do you go to learn more and who do you look to and follow? This is such an important one. Number one, because it's going to give you fodder to, like I said earlier, right? To go find new brands, contemporaries, and spaces and see what they're doing on whatever marketing platform you're really interested in channel. And the other thing is it can be very sobering. And again, in my experience, for my own stuff, sometimes I've had wonderful conversations about something I wanted to produce or a question I had or a thought. And it turns out that people were like, the people I would talk to, this is really wonderful, Allison, but like, this is my job. And when I go home, I don't think about it anymore. I don't follow anybody about this topic because it's not part of my lifestyle. Or you might find that you might think that these two YouTubers are the top in the game in your sphere, and they all say, I don't watch YouTubers. I think there was a question in the intake form for this webinar about my audience is older. You want to figure out if they're not savvy with Instagram, then you want to ask this question to find out what magazines do they watch, or are there any Facebook groups they're a part of, or are there like in-person events or tours that they do, right? Where do they go to find more? And then once they give you that answer, you're going to go see what those folk are doing because they've already caught the attention of your shared audience and you want to figure out why that is and what they did. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. So while we're thinking about this, there could be something fun. If you feel adventurous and courageous, you could, if this is inspiring you a little bit, and there is a little chat function here, you could actually ask other people that are in the chat right now who you would like to talk to. And again, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, or just to kind of get you thinking a little bit, you could say in the chat, hi, my name is Alison Knott, and I am looking to talk to dog owners, be specific, about making travel accommodations, right? So maybe you want to get into the pet travel space and you want to talk to some dog owners about that before you go down the route of figuring out if that's an offering you want to have or how you're going to talk about it. And when I say be specific, the more detailed you can get, the better, because people will do their best to not want to be a part of this if they feel like they don't fit, right? People are busy and they have a lot on their plate. So if they get this sense, rightly or wrongly, that you're not who they want to, that they're not the right person for you to talk to, they're going to assume that's the case. So being specific about who you want to talk to about what can be very helpful. Okay, so is there actually, I'm just curious, Nick, is anyone in the chat actually doing this? Has anyone got any curiosities going on? Anybody want to talk to people? I'm gonna check the chat. Oh, okay. That's okay. I give you courage and strength to keep going with it.
Somebody did say hi.
Hey, hello. But again, you start thinking like, if you aren't sure what something isn't resonating with your marketing, could you narrow down who you're trying to reach and what you want to talk about and start asking around? And again, I have some templates for you to help you ask these questions across your socials and that to find strangers and turn them into allies. So the next tool I want to show you is
We
something
did have
called,
we had one
oh,
pop up.
we do. Let me see, let me see, let me see.
My name is Leanna. I'm looking to talk to festival organizers about box office solutions.
Yahoo! Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Right. So again, by putting this out into a space that you want to have, so sorry that Mark McKinnon's just there making his face. This could be a wonderful way. Again, right? Ask those questions. And I love the specificity of that. Festival organizers, right? You don't want to have everyone's opinion about what you're trying to achieve. So that's a wonderful one. Thank you so much for participating. I love it. So the next one I want to talk about is SparkToro. And if anyone follows me online, you'll know that I am a huge fan of this tool. I know I said earlier, tools can't save you, but SparkToro is a very close savior in my opinion. So why would I go on about it when I can show you? This is literally a tool that is literally an audience research tool. So just want to confirm everyone can see my SparkToro screen here. That showed up okay? I'm hoping that people can see my SparkToro screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So, welcome to the wonderful world of SparkToro. SparkToro has a free account. Again, I'm not an affiliate with this. I just strongly believe in this company and their ethics. They also have a wicked blog and newsletter that you should subscribe to if possible, if you want to figure out how to market better to people with ethical and wonderful results. So, SparkToro is essentially an audience research tool. The free version gives you 5 searches a month. The next tier up gives you about 50. Check this out. What this does is once you know who you believe and who you've talked to from your ideal audience, who they follow, you can plug into SparkToro. My audience frequently talks about a topic, or they follow a certain social account. They visit a certain website. They use a certain hashtag, or they can analyze any website and social account. And what it does is, in its database of over 8 million profiles, it will show you other accounts, websites, podcasts, subreddits, you name it, PR opportunities that same audience also goes after. So not only will you understand by doing your audience research one-to-one in your asking them or doing your listening tour, you can even drill farther with this. So I'm going to stick with that. Let me see. My audience frequently talks about, actually, why not ask people in the chat? What do you think that your audience frequently talks about? Now, remember what your ideal audience talks about. So I always say to people, if you're a plumber, don't say plumbing, because your customers don't talk about plumbing. They talk about lifestyle and home renovations and stuff. But I'd love to know in the chat, people, my audience frequently talks about, who would like to get this? Oh, I see it popped up. World War II Navy history. Oh, Beth, I love it. I'm going to pop that in there. And the other thing I'll say, folks, too, is this is agnostic of people's beliefs or systems. So I want to say in advance, it might pull up stuff of people that are problematic or you don't agree with. It's just a search database. So I apologize in advance for whatever this will happen because, hey, it's live. So let's just see. Search. Uncovering needles in the haystack. We couldn't find enough profiles to analyze your current. So what about, let me see here. It's always the way to. Documentary films. Sweet. I apologize to Beth. We could probably work a little bit on what that piece is. It might just be too specific.
War history or yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll do war. Let's be respectful. Yeah. War history. Search.
If you're
Okay.
Navy history also would be a suggestion from Beth.
Okay, we're gonna use up. Oh, let's go. Navy history. So you can see here, it's found that on the war history one, it found 4,576 people. So people get hung up like, that's only 4,000 people. Like, look, if you got 2% of that audience pay attention to you, you would have more revenue now than you did before, right? But let's just say in that war history part, we'll go Navy history, Navy history, and we can even add a location, and they also have to be in Canada. I'm just gonna say here now, note, like most tools, this is American based, so it heavily is biased towards American data, but we're gonna go here. No, didn't do it. And usually it'll give me a free one. War history, let's search this. Okay, they're in Canada, 191 people talked about it. We could make this more broad, but what I want to show you is what it shows. So people who are in Canada and talk about war history, they are authors, historians, PhD in books and museums. So this could be useful to you because you're like, oh, actually, I really would like to. I have a beautiful space on a lake, and it's a great place for writing, and I do want to target authors who are writing the next great Canadian novel. It shows you the hashtags they use. So if you're on Instagram, you can start putting that into your content. Frequently used phrases. Nova Scotia. Check that out. Isn't that interesting? Who'd have thought? I mean, why not the other side too, right? Indigenous people, British Columbia, residential schools, Justin Trudeau. And so what I like about it is these are the social accounts they follow the most. And here are some hidden gems. So that follow the most, of course, Museum of History, British Museum, Canadian War Museum might be obvious ones. You might roll your eyes and go, Alison, well, of course they follow that. Hidden gems in their definition is social accounts with smaller reach but high engagement among the audience. So what this means is these could be particular brands that you could go look at who might not be the rock stars that everyone is trying to, emulate and get a hold of and talk to, but could be very useful. And some of them you might be able to approach for earned media, which is another word for if someone has an audience that you want, collaborate with them. Instead of trying to grow your audience organically, only organically, you could look at other brands like the Vancouver Archives, have some sort of collaboration together, maybe appear in their newsletter or do a webinar together or write an article for them so that their audience comes over to yours. And again, with the website, so Hidden Gems is a great one that may or may not be useful. It gives you text insights, so phrases used and words used, podcasts. Are there any podcasts that people listen? The British Museum podcast, Canada History, Discover Canadian Archives. Let me see here. We go back to socials. Other thing I like about this is it will give you all their accounts and it gives you the numbers, and you can just click these and it will open it up. So it's very easy for you to search. In the free version, you can't export any of this, so you can always screen cap it, but it also allows you to export the data as a CSV, filter it out. You can even compare audiences. So you might say, I wanted to see the difference. We reach maybe both Canadian tourists and also American tourists, and maybe you want to see where the overlap is between those audiences. You could run one query where they're located in Canada and the other query where they're located in the States, and you could overlap and see where those areas are. It is a super useful tool. You get 5 free searches a month. And the other neat thing I like about it is they are so ethical about their pricing. You pay per month and they remind you 4 days before in case you want to turn it off. They're not after a full year subscription. They're very, very respectful of your time and your wallet. So I friggin' love SparkToro. It's one of my faves. So then once you have SparkToro, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with that? I'm just going to move these. These are my slides just in case I couldn't get in during the presentation. So you're in SparkToro and you're starting to follow, or you see all these brands and you're like, that sounds interesting. I can see a connection, a synergy here. What are you going to do next? Well, you're going to check out their content is what you're going to sit down and really go through it. Follow their social accounts, sign up for their newsletters. If they have webinars, attend them, right? Figure out what it is they're offering so you get a sense of, are they the right fit for what I'm trying to achieve? Or is there anything neat that they might add that I hadn't considered? And then you're going to see what resonates and flops with your shared audience. So again, you might think it's going to be really awesome to do video content, and you find an account that does awesome video, but it turns out that like no one engages with it, right? There's like very little likes, there's no comments, or maybe the comments are like, you didn't address this, right? Really understanding, because again, the beautiful thing about marketing today is you can see who is looking at what and how they're commenting, and you can even go to their accounts and figure out what they're doing, right? So if there's one person in someone's on someone's LinkedIn that's always communicating with them, you can just go click on their profile and find out who the heck this person is. You couldn't do that 15 years ago, I tell you what. And you can also look for earned media opportunities to collaborate. So maybe you want to go to the Vancouver Archives and do a guest blog post. Maybe you want to do an opt-in swap. Maybe they run a conference every year that you want to sponsor. There's lots of ways for you to get in front of an audience that someone's already built and done the work. I'm not saying that you're going to copy what it is that they have. You are going to absolutely have your own point of view and do it what works for your brand. But this is the whole measuring twice and cut once. Instead of wondering, what should I post online or what should I market about, go see what other brands are doing, what resonates, so you make sure you're putting down peaches or lemons or what it is that people want at that farmer's market. And the last one I want to give you is something that's really special to the tourism industry, is checking out other brands' reviews. I will say often, in other industries, it might be testimonials, but love it or hate it, a lot of those online booking systems have tons of reviews. So you can very easily figure out exactly what people thought about your contemporaries and your competitors. So you want to go through them, create a nice little table for yourself, and you want to look at what are the common sentiments, positive or negative, that comes up. What do I see over and over again? How do they talk about features or benefits of their experience? I did one for a tour, and overwhelmingly, it turned out that most people were super excited that the tours provided in this area of Nova Scotia, no matter what photo they took, they were beautiful. It was so over and over and over and over, like 300 reviews that I read and researched. It was I love that all my pictures come out beautiful. So it was really important to people that they, even if they weren't professional photographers, they were wowing friends and family when they came home to show the experience. That was really important to them. And they said it over and over. So recommendation to the client was, if possible, put in more photography from your guests. Get their consent, of course, but show it and talk about how beautiful this is and their experience taking these wonderful things. Negative sentiments, one that I saw often was when the fog would roll in. People were super disappointed. I know sometimes tourism can be tough to manage everyone's expectations, but they were really bummed when the fog would roll in. So if that's a problem that might be stopping someone from booking with you, what could you say in your marketing about what you will do when nature's beautiful curtain comes across the land? And also, what do they value most? Sometimes it might be cost. Sometimes it might be accommodations. I'm seeing more and more, of course, with an aging population, that being accessible and being given extra time to do something was really important. And often it wasn't the person who had that, who needed the accommodation, making that point. It was the person that booked with them. They were doing like group tours, right? And they were saying, "We brought my aunt, and she was so happy that the tour was taking time for her," right? And when I say the tour, I mean multiple tours. I'm not saying your particular review, it was the reviews we looked at. So again, people online are saying literally from their heart how they feel, what they want, their experiences, and you can weave that into your marketing. So, darlings, thank you so much for taking me and going with me on this journey today. If you've enjoyed this and it's kind of interesting to you, then if you go to AlisonKconsulting.com/AR, I will give you those 7 questions to ask for listening tour. I'll also send you a follow-up email of some tips and tricks of getting over being nervous about it and how to make it a very smooth experience. And I also have a series of Canva templates in all the top social media platforms that you can copy over and then, kind of put together to, have your brand shine through and how you can ask about that. Otherwise, darlings, thank you so much for putting wonderful good into the world, for bringing wonderful people near and far to our beautiful, beautiful province. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm also a one-to-one consult on the Digiport system. So if any of this resonates with you and you're like, "I'd like to hear more about this, Alison," don't pay a dime. Sign up over at the one-to-one session and have it done for you. And I'd love to talk to you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Nick, darling, any questions?
Okay, well, that was very good use of your time. Now, if there's any questions, I would encourage everyone to ask them now. So I will just, here I am. So again, if any of the questions that you had asked earlier, maybe specifically around some of those search terms or anything like that, I would 100% encourage you to book a one-on-one with Alison through Digiport. No cost to you. Alison is paid, so don't worry. And that's a great opportunity for you. If something today really clicked in you and you really want to further it or follow it deeper, check her out on Digiport one-on-one. Now, I'm not seeing any questions pop up. That is sometimes because you covered things so well that there's just no questions to ask. So I would say that's got to be it. Someone said, "Great seminar, excellent use of my time as I have some good tips to further explore." That's great to hear, Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
I would think that, again, this is the kind of webinar where a lot of great info and a few takeaways to maybe go and ponder and review further. So if there's any questions after the fact, please don't hesitate to send us an email or contact Alison. We got to thank you, Alison. It was really helpful. We all agree. That's great. So I am going to take back over, Alison. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. And love your energy and information, Alison. You are just killing it. Just all the praise coming through. Okay, so I'm going to take back over. Thank you all again, and have a good day, Alison. Okay, so that was, again, another wonderful presentation. So happy that Alison was here today. Join us on Thursday, October 12th, and that will be a webinar of October 12th, 19th, and 26th. My apologies. It's a 3-part session, and it's called The Digital Marketing Tree, presented by Liam Taylor of SME Solutions. We've had Liam on before, and that will be a really great workshop that's based around building on knowledge. So that's 3 parts starting next week. And really excited to find out what that is all about. So come check in, sign up, it'll be available through Digiport or our website. And then on November 2nd, we have Aligning Vision and Values Throughout the Customer Journey. So that's going to be presented by Eva Gooch from STEM Consulting. Eva is a wonderful presenter, has so much relevant and great information. We've had her on at the start of our webinar series, so really excited for that. And if you'd like to, again, see any of our previous recordings, the link is on the screen there, Tourism NS. Oh, I'm covering that for myself, tourismns.ca/webinar-series. So really hope that you can check that or previous webinars out. If you have an idea for a webinar, please, or have any questions for us, please send us an email at tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca. Our corporate website is tourismns.ca. Our consumer website, where we direct all of our marketing, our call to action is novascotia.com. If you'd like to find out about this webinar or any relevant tourism-related information about our programs or anything to do with Tourism Nova Scotia, please sign up for our news and resources at the tourismns.ca/news-resources. We are on Twitter at tourismns, and on corporate LinkedIn is Tourism Nova Scotia. Thank you so much and have a great day.